Hi, it's Besta and Steve, a married couple who relocated to Lisbon.
Welcome to Living in Portugal, week 11, where this week we talk about healthcare in Portugal.
My friends call me Beast, and when we moved to Portugal, I found out that the Portuguese word for beast is Besta. So I'm using Besta here.
And of course, when we first shared that we were moving to Portugal, a lot of our friends and family, and even people on YouTube, have asked about the healthcare system here. How does it work and how are we using it?
So we thought we would share some information with that here. There's a full 30-minute interview on our YouTube channel. But here we talked to our friend Nurio from Serenity Portugal, and he explains the public and private healthcare systems.
So my name is Nurio. I'm 38 years old. I've been a nurse in Portugal for 17 years. At Serenity, I am a nurse case manager, actually senior nurse case manager, which is a similar position to, or the most similar position to a nurse practitioner in the US. Two major systems in Portugal, the private and the public, okay? So the National Healthcare Service, which is the public sector, I would say it's, when it comes to emergencies, is free for all. As soon as you step on land and you have an issue that needs to be addressed in the emergency room, they don't really care where you come from. They care that you are a human being and we will take care of you and as a human life. So when it comes to emergencies, anyone can have access to emergencies. When it comes to the private, a little more similar to the US, you have your private insurance, you apply to your private insurance, you will pay a monthly or a 6-monthly or a year fee, and then you will have access to navigate the private sector. If they are planning to move, even if it's just a brief idea, nothing really structured yet that can help them when it comes to healthcare. And this is what this was the foundation of Serenity, was exactly this. We found a gap in healthcare services and people's needs when they are not from the country. So we try to fill in this gap.
Of course, that was great advice. And when we decided how our healthcare was going to work, we looked into getting private insurance, which we ultimately did.
Right. So we had Serenity help us with our healthcare transition and help us get set up on that here. And we asked Nurio for what advice for other people who might be thinking of moving to Portugal. What did they need to know? And here's the top things that he had to say.
Healthcare for people we've talked to that are interested in possibly moving out of the States, the healthcare is a big deal because that's such a stressor for people living in the States. So what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about possibly moving to Portugal, thinking about healthcare, nervous about it? What would your advice be?
Okay. Majorly, I would say to reach out to Serenity. That's the best way. And for sure, we will have plenty of time and people to discuss specific needs. As for sure, for you, it's not going to be the same needs, okay? Many people have different things that they have on ongoing care there, and when they come here, it will just be different. So this is the major thing, is when you come to Portugal, you need to understand that things are going to be a little different, okay? Doesn't mean that they're going to be bad or worse or as ideal, okay? We need to understand that the system has their own assets and their own flaws, and we just need to know how to navigate them, okay? Best advices that I can get on the top of my mind is gather the records before you arrive to Portugal, okay? Medical records, whenever you can, get them before you arrive to Portugal, okay? I have a lot of clients that encounter difficulties in to get the medical records after they left the country, because they cannot be sent, because there is no fax, because they cannot go into email, because it's a brief on confidentiality and whatsoever and so on. I believe that this is the major things. Then, as soon as possible, I would say get to a private medical insurance. Okay, well, it depends. If you are a billionaire, doesn't really make a difference. Okay, because it's not going to make a big difference. But for the majority, the standard of people that come from the U.S. to Portugal, I do understand that having a private medical insurance will be beneficial. Okay. Also, I would say as soon as possible to take care of the bureaucracy legalities regarding the residency appointments with the AIMA, residency cards, so you can apply for the as a resident to the SNS, which is the utility number to navigate the public healthcare system. Even if you think, you know what, Nurio, we're fine, we don't need to, but it's always good to have just in case. We never know what tomorrow will bring, so it will always be good to have. And if it's something that is provided to you, being a resident is something that you are entitled to have, good. If you can go to the pharmacy, instead of paying 40 or 50 euros for your medication, you can pay 20. We are already getting, because it's going to be a monthly based. If you are planning to live in Portugal until you are 140 years old, that's going to be good money, you know. And we want you to enjoy the country, and instead of paying 20 or 30 more euros at the pharmacy, get a nice bottle of wine. Portuguese wine is amazing. So and of course, to understand that there are different processes here. There are major differences, and when we understand the systems a little more, it's going to be much easier and it's not so difficult.
Thank you to Nurio for sharing that great information and great advice. And remember, the entire half an hour interview is available on a different video on our YouTube channel, where he talks all about the different parts of the Portuguese healthcare system.
And you can find all the stuff we're doing at bestaandsteve.com and our YouTube at Besta and Steve. So this week we went and had lunch with friends. We went across the river.
One thing I love about how Lisbon is set up is everything is connected on their public transportation system. So we took the metro to a bus, and then the bus to the boat, and then the car ride up a mountain. It was fantastic. And of course, we found some historic sites while we were there too.
Right. So you can find all of those clips from that trip. The overlook was amazing. All of that's on social media, right?
It's all on social media. If you go to our Facebook page or our Instagram page, and of course on our YouTube, there's some shorts of those places as well. We went to a historic convent that dates back to the 1600s. We saw this beautiful overlook from a fossil cliff, which is millions of years old. It was just a really amazing day.
Yeah, so you can find all that on our social media. I have a new blog post and podcast on my Call Me Beast podcast about the obstacle is the way. I think you might really find this interesting. It's a concept that I really love, that when you run into a problem and there's an obstacle in your life, if you reframe that in your head as an opportunity to grow, to change, to learn something, to do better, it changes the whole dynamic of how you think about it. I had a wonderful interview with my friend Jonathan Hall about that. Hope you'll look for that on our YouTube channel as well.
I love that topic too, because I think about the obstacles we ran into to make this move, and they always turn into an opportunity. So great advice.
Yeah, sort of that sort of stick to it thing is really helpful. And I love that concept. And you have a new blog and another new post.
I do, yes, on my Substack. I'm so enjoying writing about some of these historic locations. And this week I write about walking on salted ground, where I talk about my favorite monument in Lisbon, which is actually hidden behind a Starbucks, and thousands of people walk right past it. So I share my experience there, and of course the history behind this strange column just sitting in the alley of the salted ground.
Yeah, it's really cool that it's just sort of there. But there's a lot of those wonderful things in Europe all over. Go to Substack, look for Paranormal Muscle Bear, which is your channel. Subscribe, and you can find pictures of this pillar and the story behind it. I think it's all really interesting. And there's one more video that we put out recently about our trip to Óbidos. You can find that video with footage of walking on those tiny little walkways around the turrets. You can find that on our YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, this castle is one of the 7 wonders of Portugal, and we were all over it. It was amazing.
So thank you for watching this. Thanks again to Nurio for talking with us about healthcare. Believe me, you will love the information. It's very interesting how the different system works here. Find that on our YouTube channel. If you know someone who's thinking about moving to Europe or interested in sort of how healthcare works over here in Portugal, please let them know about that video as well. Really appreciate you watching.
Yeah. Have a great day, everybody.